The great hall of the Crimson Moon Kingdom was full of light and music, but Elena Rivers did not belong to any of it. She moved between the long tables with a tray in her hands, her eyes down, her steps quiet. She was a servant, one of many, and tonight, the palace was celebrating something that had nothing to do with her. The Alpha King was about to be promised to a woman from a powerful pack, and everyone said it was the best thing that could happen to the kingdom. Elena had heard the whispers all week. Lady Serafina Cole was beautiful, well-trained, and came from a bloodline that would bring wealth and strong warriors to the Crimson Moon Pack. The Queen Mother, Isolde, had chosen her herself, and no one dared question the Queen Mother's decisions. She was a woman who valued power above everything else, and she had waited a long time for this alliance. Elena set a plate of food on the table nearest the throne and turned to leave. That was when it happened. King Cain Ashwood looked up. Their eyes met. It was only a second, but it felt like the whole world had stopped breathing. Elena felt something pull at her chest, sharp and warm, like a string tied straight to her heart. She had heard of the mate bond before, in stories told by older wolves, but she never thought she would feel it herself, and certainly never with him. Cain's expression changed too. His jaw tightened, his eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, he looked like a man who had been struck by lightning. Elena did not wait to see what would happen next. She turned and hurried out of the hall, her tray shaking in her hands, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure someone would hear it. She did not get far. Cain found her in the quiet garden behind the kitchens, where the moonlight fell soft over the grass, and the noise of the feast was only a distant hum. "You felt it too," he said. It was not a question. Elena kept her eyes on the ground. "Your Majesty, I am only a servant. Whatever you think you felt, it does not matter. You are promised to Lady Serafina." "I am promised to no one yet," Cain said. "The betrothal has not been sealed." "It will be," Elena said quietly. "Tomorrow, or the day after. Everyone knows it." Cain stepped closer, and Elena forced herself not to step back. Up close, he looked less like a king, and more like a man carrying a weight too heavy for his shoulders. "My wolf has never done this before," he said. "Not once, in all my years, has it reacted to anyone the way it reacted to you tonight. Do you understand what that means?" "It means nothing," Elena said, though her voice trembled as she said it. "A crown does not care about fate. It cares about strength and alliances. I have neither. My family lost everything years ago. I have no name worth speaking in this palace." "Tell me your name," Cain said softly. She hesitated, then answered. "Elena, Elena Rivers." He said it back to her, slowly, as if testing how it felt on his tongue. Then he stepped back, giving her space to breathe. "I will not force anything on you, Elena, but I cannot pretend I felt nothing either. Go back inside. Rest. We will speak again." Elena did not sleep that night. She lay awake in the small servants' quarters, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince herself that what had happened in the garden was a mistake, a trick of the moonlight and too much wine at the feast. But deep down, she knew better. The bond did not lie. It could not be argued away no matter how much she wished it could. The next morning, she was summoned to the Queen Mother's chambers. Isolde sat by the window, her back straight, her eyes cold as winter stone. She did not invite Elena to sit. "I know what happened at the feast," she said. "My son's eyes found yours, and something passed between you. Do not think I am blind to such things." Elena's stomach turned to ice. "Your Majesty, I did nothing. I only served the tables as I was told." "I am not accusing you of scheming," Isolde said. "I am telling you what will happen if you let this bond grow. You will bring nothing but ruin to yourself and to this kingdom. Lady Serafina's pack has the warriors we need to hold our borders. If my son turns from her now, we lose everything we have worked to build." "I never asked for this," Elena said, her voice shaking but steady enough to be heard. "I do not want to cause trouble." Isolde studied her for a long moment, and something flickered behind her eyes, something that looked almost like fear. "Rivers," she said slowly. "That name, where is your family from?" "I do not know much," Elena admitted. "My mother died when I was young. She never spoke of our past. All I know is that we were once a family of some standing. before we lost everything." Isolde's face grew pale, though she quickly hid it behind a mask of calm. "Stay away from my son," she said, her voice sharp again. "For your own good, and for the good of this kingdom, that is all." Elena left the chambers with her heart racing. She did not understand why the mention of her family had shaken the Queen Mother so deeply, but she was certain there was more to the story than anyone had told her. Over the following days, Elena tried to keep her distance from Cain, burying herself in her duties, working longer hours than required, just to avoid the parts of the palace where she might cross his path. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. She would turn a corner and find him already there, as though something unseen kept drawing them together. Each time, they spoke only a few words, but each conversation left her more certain that what she felt was not a mistake. One evening, she found Lady Serafina waiting for her in the garden, alone, dressed simply instead of in her usual fine gowns. Elena froze, expecting anger, perhaps even punishment. Instead, Serafina's expression was calm, almost kind. "I am not here to fight you," Serafina said. "I know about fated bonds. My own grandmother had one, though she was never allowed to follow it. She spent her whole life regretting the choice that was made for her." She paused, looking out at the moon. "I do not wish to marry a man whose heart already belongs to someone else. That is not the kind of life I want, no matter what alliance it brings." Elena stared at her, stunned. "You would give this up? For me? You do not even know me." "I know enough," Serafina said with a small, sad smile. "I know that forcing two people apart who are meant to be together only brings suffering. I have seen it before. I do not wish to be the cause of it again." For the first time since the feast, Elena felt a small spark of hope. But peace did not last. Word soon reached the palace that a rival pack, the Greyfangs, had noticed the tension within the Crimson Moon leadership. They saw an opportunity in the confusion surrounding the broken betrothal, and began moving their warriors toward the border, hoping to strike before the kingdom could steady itself. The palace fell into chaos. Warriors were called to arms, and the halls that had once been filled with music were now filled with the sound of hurried footsteps and worried voices. Isolde, more desperate than ever to protect the kingdom, cornered Elena once again, this time with real fear in her eyes. "You do not understand what you have started," Isolde said. "If my son abandons the alliance now, we may not survive what is coming." "I never asked him to abandon anything," Elena said. "I have stayed away. I have done everything you asked." "It does not matter," Isolde snapped. "The bond is still there, and everyone can feel it, even those who do not know its name. It is time you understood the truth." Isolde took a shaking breath and finally told her. Years ago, Elena's family had served as advisors to the crown, trusted above almost everyone else. But when a war threatened the kingdom, Elena's grandfather had made a choice that Isolde's own family considered a betrayal, one that cost many lives on the battlefield. The Rivers family was stripped of everything and cast out in disgrace, their true history hidden so completely that even Elena had never known it. "I have spent my whole life protecting this pack from what your family cost us," Isolde said. "I cannot watch history repeat itself." Elena felt tears sting her eyes, but beneath the sorrow, something else rose up in her, something steady and strong. "I am not my grandfather," she said. "Whatever he did, it was not me. I will not be punished for a choice I never made." Isolde had no answer for that. The Greyfangs attacked at dawn, striking the eastern gate, where the defenses were thinnest. Cain led his warriors into battle himself, as an Alpha King was expected to do, fighting at the front lines to protect his people. Elena, refusing to hide while others risked their lives, joined the healers near the battlefield, tending to the wounded as they were carried back. But when a group of Greyfang warriors broke through the line and headed straight for the healers' camp, Elena did not run. Something inside her, something she had never felt before, rose up with a fierce and sudden strength. Her wolf, long buried beneath years of fear and hiding, broke free at last. She fought back the attackers with a power that surprised even herself, protecting the wounded until Cain's warriors arrived to finish the fight. When the battle ended and the Greyfangs retreated, the entire camp stood in stunned silence, staring at the servant girl who had just fought like a true warrior of ancient blood. Cain found her afterward, exhausted but unharmed, her hands still trembling from the fight. He did not say a word. He simply pulled her into his arms, holding her as though he never intended to let go again. That night, before the whole pack gathered in the great hall, Cain made his decision known. He would not marry Lady Seraphina. The bond that connected him to Elena was not something he could deny any longer, not after watching her fight to protect his people with everything she had. Fate chose her, Cain declared, his voice carrying through the silent hall. Not politics, not bloodlines, fate itself. I will not turn away from what the moon has given me. Isolde stood at the edge of the hall, watching her son with an expression no one could quite read. For a long moment, it seemed she might argue, might call upon the old laws to stop him. But then her eyes moved to Elena, standing tall despite her torn and dirty clothes, despite everything she had been through, and something in the Queen Mother's face finally softened. She fought for this kingdom when she owed it nothing, Isolde said quietly, more to herself than to anyone else. Perhaps that is worth more than any bloodline I have valued. It was not forgiveness, not entirely, not yet, but it was a beginning. In the weeks that followed, Elena was formally recognized before the pack, her family's true history finally brought into the light, the old wrongs slowly being set right. Lady Seraphina returned to her own pack with her head held high, thanked by many for the grace she had shown, and in time, she found her own path to happiness, far from the crown she had once been promised. As for Cain and Elena, their bond only grew stronger with each passing day. She was crowned Luna not because of the family she came from or the alliances she could bring, but because of who she was and the courage she had shown when it mattered most. Standing beside him under the full moon, wearing the simple circlet of the Luna, Elena finally understood what her mother had never lived to tell her. Titles could be given, and alliances could be arranged by those who held power, but a bond forged by fate was something no queen, no crown, and no old wound from the past could ever undo. It belonged only to the two hearts it had chosen, and no one else had the right to decide otherwise.